Again, welcome everyone to today's webinar. So we're excited to present to you the one of the latest additions to our system that will relate to the tracking and managing the job costing part of RigER. So we're going to be learning a lot about, it's going to be sort of data rich and it's interesting. So we expect a lot of people with accounting or general management background that are concerned about how to run the jobs on a leaner budget will be joining us today and learning about how the system is run. So in a nutshell, we'll talk about how to collect all the direct expenses about a job and set it up in the system so that you would be able to manage all those expenses, direct expenses pertinent to every job, and have near real-time view of what's going on as far as our expenses go. So that note, let's move on. And speaking of the people, I wanted to give out a quick thank you to everyone who's been some of the key clients of ours are presented on this slide, and I wanted to thank every one of them who's been with us throughout those years and supporting both us and appreciating what we do for you guys. So thank you to our clients. So today's agenda, as I've just mentioned, we're going to be talking about the job costing. So we'll talk about what is accounting versus job costing in RigER. We'll talk about the job costing setup. We'll look real life data database job costing example and setup. And we'll also dive into the job analytics. So today's presenters are myself, Kanat Nimat is our business analyst, and Michael Maltsev is our CEO, whom some of you who have been with us for some time know. So first things, just a bit of an overview of where we're coming from as far as why this module is now more and more in demand in many of our clients and the future clients of us. So we've noticed in the past several years now, but this year has been specifically outstanding in that regard, that people are, that the whole approach to the energy sector is changing. So the new sectors and segments are appearing and people are requiring more information. So the demand is changing significantly. A lot of people are now looking for different business modules and how to be able to manage their business, not as 5-10 years ago. It was one approach. Now the new approaches and new service modules and new service models as well are getting introduced. So the competition landscape is changing. So all those, including the price volatility and regulation, so all those different aspects that we've just listed here, we've seen rearing their head and appearing on the landscape of the oilfield service management that require now a different approach to how you manage information about your business. And there was a time when everybody was obsessed about ERP solutions, complex and inflexible systems. Then there was a move in small businesses to use the different, smaller tools, but there's always been a need to have a system that can collect all the different information on an ongoing basis and being dynamic and flexible. So that drove us to the point where we wanted to make sure that the whole cost control part is managed in RigER, because most of the information is already in the system. So, and the technology allows us to do that, including the mobile and the cloud systems. So that was the premise of where the whole oilfield job costing part comes in. And I wanted to pass the mic to Michael just to start diving right into the subject of what is it going to be about job costing in oilfield.
Thank you, Nikolai. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next RigER webinar, number 65. And this webinar, we will talk about oilfield job costing. And tell you the truth, this problem rises every time when we start talking about oilfield operations and trying to understand how to calculate the profit of each particular job. And I'm really glad that we did it. And let's talk about the main problem when we talk about accounting and understanding the job costing. First of all, in general accounting, when we talk about revenue, we talk mostly about aggregate information. We talk about, in best case, by segments or by clients, but not the granular or the particular job costing, because it could be several invoices, it could be several documents, which again do not provide a full picture about what's going on. from one perspective. From another perspective, there is a time delay about the presenting and providing information to the operations. So in many cases, there is no details about each job. Accounting usually use complicated allocations, and definitely they have different goals, and they have lack of resources and time to provide this information back to the operations about every single job. So from our perspective in RigER, we already have all the necessary details. We understand how to collect and how to record the direct cost of every particular transaction. We can calculate the job profit, and again, we can use existing system in real time. So let us present the concept. So how we see the job costing, how the job costing can help management and the operation team understand the triggers, understand the trends, understand where they leaking or where they are gaining the profit. First of all, we need to define the job, because it's very broad term, and different companies use a different names of the jobs. It could be a job order, or it could be a ticket, it could be invoice, or whatever. So for us, job equivalent is a rental service agreement. So we have a client, we have location, and we have RSA. So several clients, client can have several locations, and location can have several RSAs. So, and we analyze job by RSA. This is a one definition. So definitely we can calculate the revenue by types and revenue by categories based out of the invoices generated out of this RSA, and we can calculate all the direct costs associated with the job, again through the documents connected to this RSA. And based on that, we can show you profit or losses for each particular job. First of all, we need to define the cost structure of each particular client or each particular database and configuration. We started from understanding the cost types. Usually, we can define three major types: labor, materials, and others. So labor could be regular hours, overtime hours, bonuses, etc. Materials, it could be parts, consumables, different types of parts, or different usage of parts. Again, it really depends on the particular client structure and particular client needs. Cost codes then defines what kind of analytics we need to collect based out of the particular cost type. So, and other expenses could be travel, accommodations, meals, any other direct expenses which you can associate with this particular job. So the major problem is to understand how we can collect the direct costs. And we define, again, three types of costs, and understand that any jobs can have several type of documents: rental tickets, field tickets, repair cards, maintenance card, expense claims. Rental tickets, field tickets, repair cards, maintenance, they have ability to add crew and track hours of each employee working on this particular task, of working on this particular job. So through the HR module, we can assign a different rates for different jobs, for different employees, and calculating that, we will have a job labor cost. Same thing with materials or parts, which we use in rental ticket, field ticket, repair cards, maintenance cards, so we can collect a quantity of each individual part and multiply by purchase cost, understanding the value of the materials or cost of goods sold, whatever term we can use, but for us, it will be a materials or parts cost. And a very new document which we implemented this year, or maybe end of last year for some databases, was expense claim document, which give us an opportunity to track other expenses, kind of travel, meals, accommodations, and other, and associate all those expenses with the particular client, and rental service agreement means particular job. So let's talk about a job costing setup in RigER and how we'll do that. First of all, we define the business structure and job costing structure. We understand what kind of details and what kind of analytics we will use for tracking revenue and job cost. So the revenue can be tracked by department, salesperson, truck, field tech in this example, or for some other companies, it could be divisions, client divisions, it could be line of businesses, etc. Job cost, pretty much the same thing. So we can understand the job structure. We will track and associate every single rental service agreement and job with a particular customer, location, contact, rig, item. Could be more than that. So it could be department sales, a person. So we when start working with the client, we just build this structure and understanding what kind of details we need to know about this particular job. Then we define the cost types. Again, by default, we have labor, materials, and other expenses. Three major cost types. For some specific configurations, we can build more than those three cost types, and each cost type can have several cost codes. For example, other expenses could be hotels, meals, even other expenses, or labor can be regular hours, payable hours, overtime hours, etc. And parts could be, materials could be a specific type of parts or specific usage of parts. Then, as we build the full list of cost coding, we start mapping a particular document totals with the particular part. Say, for example, in this example, we have common cost codes for all the documents, say, for example, parts, all the totals for parts table in each document will go to the part. If we'd like to separate rental ticket parts or field ticket parts or repair cart parts, so we can use a different cost code for those documents. Another thing, we can set up this on the background, and the user will not select that, and on the background the system will accumulate this those expenses and the specific accounts.
First thing we need to do is to set up our job costing module so that all operational expenses are correctly identified. Let's start with the job costing structure. In these settings, we choose required dimensions from both business and job structures. To pick a dimension, you need to mark the checkbox, and after you finish, click Save and Close button. The next step is to set up cost types. Generally, we recommend to have the following cost types: labor, material, and other expenses. However, this is totally customizable and could be configured per your specific requirements. So to create an additional cost type, simply click the Create button, follow the steps, and you'll see your cost types here. After this step, we need to create cost codes. On the screen, you can see a list of cost codes, and it's a general list. This section is totally customizable, and you can create cost codes per your preferences. Simply click Create button, follow the steps, and you will see your cost codes here. Okay. Finally, after we set job costing structure, cost types, and cost codes, it's time to map cost codes to all documents in RigER. We can do this in cost code settings. The layout reflects all previous setups, thus in your case, this may look different. Gray shaded area indicates the places where you don't need to input cost codes, but again, it depends on your case. So let's go ahead and start mapping RigER documents in cost codes. Simply double click each field and select cost code. And after you finish, click Save and Close button. And that's it. Our job costing module is set up and ready for use.
Thank you, Kanat. And I'd like to repass the mic to Kanat. So he will show us a job example, the full job, how we set up in the database.
Yes, definitely. So in order to demonstrate functionality of job costing in RigER, we need to create our typical RSA first, have our customer and location information, dates and department, then add a rental equipment and parts and services. After we initiate our job, let's generate tickets. In order to send our rental equipment to customer location, we generate rental ticket, delivery type. With the equipment, we send the crew to install it, or we send the crew later to service it or to fix it. So we generate a field ticket where we indicate what needs to be done, what parts are required, and who has to do the job. And finally, once the crew is back, members can fill out expense claims to get reimbursed for job-related expenses, such as meal, travel, hotel, and other expenses. Every expense claim is filled out individually per crew member on a daily, weekly, or any other period basis. And it's filled out per client and per job. This is the minimum set of documents for job costing module's full performance.
From our previous webinars, we discussed rental service agreements, rental tickets, field tickets, repair cards, and other documents, with understanding that at the end of operations, we create and send invoices and hence generate revenue. Today, we will look at our RSAs, rental tickets, field tickets from different perspective, from the perspective of operational job costing. Before moving forward, I would like to share an important remark. In order to use job costing module to its fullest potential, you need to have our HR module in place, as we will need to refer to employees' payroll rates. Okay, let's refresh on what's RSA. RSA stands for Rental Service Agreement, also referred to as a job. We will be using these terms interchangeably a lot. And here's our typical RSA with customer, location, and other information. Then we have rental equipment service and parts and other tabs. In rental equipment tab, we have a list of our rental units. In service and parts tab, we have all necessary services and additional parts. Then at the bottom of the RSA, we can see the total amount of $42.25. This amount is to be invoiced to our client. So this amount is the revenue we are to receive. Then once RSA is active and posted, we can generate our rental tickets and field tickets. In order to deliver rental units, we need to generate delivery rental ticket, where necessary rental units, services and parts, and other information will be indicated. However, you can add more services and parts if need be. Okay, let's pinpoint this moment and we'll come back to it later. Let's move on to field tickets. These tickets are also generated from the RSA, and their main purpose is to send field technicians to client locations to perform different operational services. For example, there is a field ticket that requires an installation of equipment service, and your field technician would need some parts, as well as a crew of 4 more field technicians who will need to spend some time to do the job, and also need a per diem allowance, and somebody may even earn a bonus. So coming back to the rental ticket and our example from the field ticket, all parts, crew members' payable hours, per diem, and bonuses are mapped to cost codes, which are previously set up. Now with rental tickets and field tickets, we can collect all direct expenses associated with parts and labor. Also, your employees can claim additional expenses through expense claims associated with separate clients and jobs. In expense claims, we can track such expenses as travel, meal, hotel, parking, and other expenses, with totals per records and overall totals per columns. Our previous job costing setup enables RigER to run many things on the background while you create RSAs, generate different tickets, dispatch crew and rental units, and send parts to the fields. So it's important to have RigER HR module in place, as job costing module uses employees' payroll rates to calculate the dollar amount of labor cost on the background. Same logic is applied with defining the cost of goods sold. RigER uses initial purchase price when you use parts to repair your rental equipment. However, this is happening behind the scenes, and it's not possible to see what are your job-related costs from RSA or rental ticket or field ticket, but just wait to see our special dashboard and reports.
Thank you, Kanat. This is how we set up job and all the support documents, and then we come to the most important part and the goal of the job costing module, job analytics, understanding what kind of reports and what kind of information we can gain from RigER. So first of all, we built a job costing report, which will show us the job costing details by customer, location, job, and cost code. So we can understand the direct cost of each particular job. Then we can compare this job costing with the revenue and calculate the profit and gross margin. So based on our previous calculations, we can show RSA by RSA, revenue, cost, and job profit and gross margin. So this probably most important report. And we understand that the revenue can be earned especially for the multi-month jobs, several months. So in this case, you can see the entire clear picture, like the period totals by client, by location, and by RSA. And most colorful, it's a job profit dashboard, where we can see job by job, revenue, total cost of materials, labor, other, and profit and gross margin, and play with that. So Kanat will demonstrate that in a second.
Okay, RigER mid job profit dashboard. Now, all of the behind the scenes mappings and calculations are here in one place. You can see it, you can feel it, and you can understand it. On the top part of the dashboard, the job profit data is presented in the tabular view. From left to right, you have location, customer, job, which is also an RSA, revenue. Then cost of parts, cost of labor, other expenses, followed by total job cost. Then job profit and the gross margin. On the bottom part of the dashboard, you have a visual representation of the data. Bar charts can show you revenue, parts, labor, other expenses, total job cost, or job profit, and a gross margin. The pie chart represents an expense diagram, and it's an overall total allocation of your costs in three main categories: parts, labor, and other expenses. As you can see, the whole dashboard is dynamic in the sense that it is responsive, as you can click through different metrics, as well as it also continuously updates data from all work in progress jobs. On top of the dashboard, you can also filter out your data by periods, run the report to today's day, current week, current months, and the whole current year. Then you can also filter your dashboard by clients. And next, you can include or exclude your pie chart. Use this dashboard as a handy tool to start analyzing your performance and ask right questions, see trends, solve issues. For example, you can filter out by client and select labor to see your labor costs. Looking at the chart, ask why you spend $2,000 on one job and over 3,200 on the other, how these jobs are different. Then move to parts column and analyze if the trend is similar to the labor costs. And if yes, then is the difference between the highest and the lowest part expenses are the same in value as labor expenses? And why not? So more data you have, more handy will this dashboard be. We also have two additional reports: job cost revenue and job cost. So the job cost revenue report shows your revenue, total costs, job profit, and gross margin for every client job allocated over months. You can also filter periods and select clients to see separate reports on a particular client. And all the standard report options to save, export to Excel, and send via email are in place. Next report is job costing report. And this report gives you greater details on your job expenses allocated by cost codes per client per job.
Good. Thank you so much, Kanat. Right now, you can understand how you can track all your cost codes and job costing and understand the profit of each job. So definitely we show a very simple example today. Definitely for each particular client, it could be some variations and more detailed analytics about job costing. So we are going to continue developing this. We have several clients who already start implementing job costing. And if you'd like to join this group of our clients, please give us a call, and we are ready to answer your questions right now.
What I wanted to say is that we're coming to quarter to the hour, so that's a good time for us to move to the sort of a quick note saying that you can always reach out to us if you don't have a question right now, but you would like to pass information to some of your colleagues who may have a question about this. So reach out to us through web, through phone, through email. We're here always and are always here to help. So we will be more than happy to kind of dive right in and kind of go through the process with you and see what we can do in what time frame. Okay. And if you're new to RigER, and don't know much about it, but only have seen now this module, so feel free to book a demo. We'll show you what RigER is in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. And we will continue our webinar series through the entire summer. Right now, we do one webinar per week, and we will continue doing that. So the next webinar will be about oilfield mobile applications and connection with RigER and how to use it. After that, we will talk about business after COVID-19. So, because we have a very good material about and interviews with our clients, peers, and friends, understanding how we can move forward and how we can run in the new reality. So we invited you for our next sessions, and thank you so much for being with us today. And have a fantastic rest of your day. And yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you.